What's up, y'all? October in the NBA is over, and this is one of the best NBA starts we've seen in a while. We've had the most 40-point games, we've had game winners, surprises, disappointments, and moments. Starting with the 40-point games, there's been 17 40-plus point games, where 16 was the most in opening week history. We've had four 50-plus point games, where Aaron Gordon versus the Warriors on October 23rd, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander versus the Pacers on October 23rd, Austin Reeves versus the Kings on October 26th, and Lauri Markkanen versus the Suns on October 27th. The surprises within the first month: VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, and the 76ers. Going into the season, nobody knew what the 76ers would be, and now they're starting 4-0. Opening night, they combined for 74 points in a win versus Boston. Joel Embiid is on a minutes restriction, and there's no Paul George, so it's pretty much just VJ Edgecombe as the rookie and Tyrese Maxey with Adem Bona, Kelly Oubre. They were starting 4-0 before their 1-point loss to Boston on the 31st, and they are the best comeback team in the league. They were down 21 to the Celtics yesterday with ending in a 1-point loss. They were down 19 to the Wizards and won, down 11 to the Hornets and won, and down 13 to the Celtics and won. So they've had three double-digit deficits where they came back. Philly is first in three-point percentage. They are second in block shots. Maxey, VJ, and Oubre are all top three in minutes played with 39 plus. The second surprise is Victor Wembanyama. Everyone knew he would be good, but no one knew for him to step out like this. Opening night versus Dallas, he had 40 points, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 0 turnovers. And he was playing against this Dallas big lineup that was made to stop him with Derek Lively and Anthony Davis, two 7-footers. And our whole lineup was just huge with Cooper Flagg at like 6'8", running our point guard. He's been averaging 30 points, 14.6 rebounds, 4.8 blocks through the first month, and he put himself into MVP conversations. I was someone who thought he would make a jump to an All-NBA first team, being one of the 5th best players in the league, but now it's looking like he might be in the running for an MVP award, and he's leading the Spurs to a 5-0 start this year. The next surprise is the rookie class. I expected them to be good, but I was not expecting this much talent from them. Starting with Dylan Harper, who is an amazing guard behind Castle. He's great with playing with Wemby, and he's making people talk about what to do with De'Aaron Fox. Him and Stephon Castle have started the season so good that there's conversations between if they need De'Aaron Fox to come back from his injury. He's been averaging 14 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 4.6 assists off the bench. Next is VJ Edgecombe. He had one of the best rookie debuts we've ever seen. He was a projected 4 to 5 pick, and he went at 3 because of the whole Ace Bailey situation. But as a projected 4 to 5 pick, he's looking like the rookie of the year. Between him and Maxey, the 76ers won 4 straight, and he's averaging 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. The next rookie is Con Knueppel and Ryan Kalkbrenner for the Hornets. They are good for a young Hornets team with LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, who's injured. But you have Knueppel, who's adding the 3-point percentage, or the 3-point shot that they drafted him for, and he's shooting it at 50% so far. And Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's giving them good starting big minutes, where Hornet was known for not really having a big and not having that size in their starting lineup. And he's great for them. He's shooting 90% with 11 points and 7 rebounds. The next rookie is Trey Johnson. He's a great scorer off the bench for the Wizards. He's shooting 39% from 3 on 6.6 attempts, and I think he's only going to get more opportunity as this season goes on, and you see the Wizards really aren't competing for much still. Next is Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. They have a rough start for the Pelicans where they're down 0-5 to start the year, but both of these rookies have very high IQ for rookies. They know how to play the game, and you have Jeremiah Fears, who's playing behind Jordan Poole, and Derek Queen, who's playing behind Zion Williamson. So there's a lot of learning to do for these rookies. And Cedric Coward, who's great off the bench for the Grizzlies. He was looked at as a steal of the draft at 11, where he was an unknown guy because he had injuries during college and not playing a lot of D1 minutes. So no one really knew how well he would translate to the NBA. But now he's averaging 16 points on 24.5 minutes off the bench for the Grizzlies. And all of these rookies that I'm mentioning are without mentioning Cooper Flagg, who is the number 1 pick, because he has not looked great so far this year, and Ace Bailey, who also has not looked too good this year, coming off of an injury. Next is the disappointments. First, I have the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks were projected to be a top 6 to 8 seed. I've seen people put them all through that range, and now they're starting 2-0, losing to the Washington Wizards and almost losing to the Indiana Pacers, who were 0-3 and did not have 3 of their starters. They have no point guard, and it's really hurting the offense, where you see Jason Kidd decide to make Cooper Flagg, who is not looked at to be a point guard, to run our point guard. And you see D'Angelo Russell, who was coming off the bench and not even getting good minutes off the bench. But whenever he was playing, our offense did look a little bit better. Anthony Davis is already hurt. He's looked to miss the next 2 games at least and then be reevaluated. So you saw him go out in that Pacers game. But he also was not looking good. And defensively, for what he's known for, he was not looking good. He giving up 40 to Wemby on opening night. And also, Flagg is not looking good to start the season, but he has shown flashes so far this year, so I think he will improve. But so far, it just has not looked good for him, considering his expectations. The next disappointment is the Atlanta Hawks and the Orlando Magic. I put both these teams together because they were both looked at to really make a jump out in the East with making big offseason moves. It looked at like the East was Cavs, Knicks, and then it was just open from then on. And with the Atlanta Hawks getting Kristaps Porzingis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they were looked at to be that 3 seed, or the Orlando Magic, who added in Desmond Bane for their really hurt offense. They were looked at to make that 3 seed. But so far, the Magic are starting 2-4, which is 12th in the East right now. And they added Bane for offense, but it just does not look good. And they were known for their defense, but that is also not looking good, giving up an average of 120 points. The Magic are 23rd in offensive rating this year and 21st in defensive rating. And the Atlanta Hawks, they're starting 3-3 and being 8 in the East. And they made a lot of moves this offseason, so it was really expected to jump. And now Trae Young got hurt, so you're going to see what that does to their offense. So far, they've played 1 game versus the hurt Pacers team, who isn't competing, and their offense did look pretty solid. They turned defense to offense a lot, running in transition, but I think against real quality teams, it's going to be interesting to see what their offense would look like without Trae Young on the court. Next is the moments from October. We had opening night, a double overtime game versus the Rockets and Thunder, where it was a ring ceremony for OKC, and the Rockets brought out this big lineup they were talking about with an average height of 6'10". And you see Kevin Durant's Rocket debut. Second game of the night was Warriors versus Lakers, where Luka had 43 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, and a loss. So it was just a real fun opening night to bring the NBA back. October 22nd, day 2 of the NBA, where you saw Victor Wembanyama go for 40, 15, and 0 turnovers. And you saw how that just immediately catapulted him into those MVP conversations, looking like he was just going to win the award. And you saw VJ Edgecombe with his 34-point rookie debut, and Maxey 40-point explosion versus Boston to win that game. October 23rd, day 3 of the NBA. The only off-the-court stuff was Chauncey Billups with his federal gambling investigation with the Mafia. And you saw Terry Rozier also with a federal gambling investigation. You saw OKC Pacers finals rematch, which was a really good game. It went to double overtime, where you had Shea 55 points, and you see AJ Mitchell to start his breakout with 26 points. Benedict Mathurin also had 36 points, 11 rebounds, and Siakam had 32 points and 15 rebounds. Next was Nuggets Warriors that same day. You saw Aaron Gordon go for 50 on 81% shooting and going 10 for 11 from 3. But you also saw Steph Curry's second half takeover, where he had 35 points in the second half and overtime, and the Warriors eventually win that game. October 26th is Austin Reeves' 50-point game. He had 51, 11, and 9 versus the Kings. And you saw with this game, without Luka or LeBron, you needed Austin Reeves or someone on that roster to step up, and you saw Austin Reeves did. October 27th, you saw Jokic go for 25, 19 rebounds, 10 assists, where he has had almost a triple-double every single game this season, but he was shooting it at 90%. Jamal Murray, 43 points in a win versus the Timberwolves. Lauri Markkanen had his 50-point game, where he had 51, 14 rebounds, and an overtime win versus the Suns. October 29th, you saw Austin Reeves' game winner versus the Timberwolves, where he ended with 28 points and 16 assists. And then finally, October 31st, you saw Kawhi's game winner versus the Pelicans, where he had 34 points, five rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 steals. And to recap October, you have 4 50-point performances. You have 3 undefeated teams left, being the Spurs, who are 5-0, OKC, who is 6-0, and the Bulls, who are 5-0. You have 3 winless teams, who are the Pelicans, who really want to get it put together because they traded their first-round pick to Atlanta. You have the Pacers, who are 5-0, but they aren't competing for much this year. They have their own pick back from the Pelicans, who they got in the finals last year. So, I'm sure this is going to be a taking season for the Pacers, looking to get a top pick next year. And then the Nets, who have not looked great. They are a fun team to watch, but they just have not converted it to winning so far this year. And that's going to be it for my recap of October in the NBA. Let me know what y'all think. I will have a monthly video like this every single month. So let me know how y'all feel about it, what to change. And make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe.